With a reverse lock stitch 70 years before anyone else and the first ever decorative stitch, these early Florence sewing machines deserve a close look at how they work. So let's take a peek under the hood of this great machine to reveal some of its secrets. The first thing that catches the eye is that unlike most sewing machines, you don't have to turn the thing upside down to see what's going on. The entire sewing mechanism is easily viewed from above. This makes troubleshooting a breeze compared to many machines that have much of their mechanics buried under the bed, forcing you to think upside down and backwards to figure out what's going on. Another attractive feature is that instead of everything being jammed together as tightly as possible, in the Florence there's lots of elbow room all the way around the mechanics, making seeing what's going on much easier. Let's begin by looking at how the machine sews. For that, we have to move to the rear of the machine. All of the machine's mechanics are driven by this drive shaft, similar in many ways to the crankshaft on the car's engine. This wheel acts as the take-up arm and drives the arm that pushes the shuttle back and forth. This cam drives the needle arm up and down, while as a cam follower under the machine follows this cam and moves the dog feed drive lever up and down. This is the friction pulley that would have been driven by a 1-inch wide leather belt. This end cam provides the drive for producing the Florence's decorative stitch. What's brilliant about this system is that all of the machine's timing is locked into this one shaft. You never have to worry about getting any gears in their proper relative positions to get the machine to work properly. This close-up of the sewing mechanism shows that the Florence employs a hook to grab the bobbin thread and pull it towards the rear of the shuttle before each stitch. This makes it easier for the upper thread to slide over the shuttle because it doesn't have to drag the bobbin thread with it. Now we're looking at the stitch regulator system. This little finger controls the stitch length as well as enabling the Florence's ability to reverse stitch. With the control knob rotated as far as it can go towards the rear of the machine, the finger points downward. As the dog feed drive arm moves up and down, this crescent-shaped follower is forced to rotate back and forth, pushing the dog feed to move the cloth from right to left. As the finger is moved counterclockwise or towards the front, the radius at which it interacts with the follower is reduced, so the stitch length is reduced. If we move it to the exact center, the dog feed doesn't move at all, and you get one stitch on top of another, which is a great way to make a real mess under the machine. If we continue moving the finger upward, this is where the magic happens. The direction of rotation has reversed now. So instead of the dog feed pushing the fabric from right to left, it now pulls it from left to right. And that's how the Florence gets a reverse lock stitch. Now, if you think that was clever, wait until you see how the Florence makes its double lock stitch decorative stitch. By moving this lever from its forward position where it sews a single lock stitch to the rear, we now get a double lock stitch. The machine sews a regular stitch followed by a second stitch without the dog feed moving the cloth. The end of the main drive wheel has a cam consisting of two concentric rings. They're rather hard to see here. These have a single opening in them, and at the end of this lever arm is a small pin that has a flange that's curved and extends in front of it. What happens is as this is rotated, there is a cam bump on the inside track and the outside track. If the pin is on the inside track, the inside bump rubs against this flange and forces the pin to the outside track. If it's on the outside track, the outside track's cam bump catches on the outside of the flange and forces it into the inside track. Here's how it looks. It's on the inside track now. The outside is caught. That pin moves into the outside track. Now that flange hits the outside cam bump, turns the flange inward, is caught by the inside track, and now it goes on the inside track. So as the machine rotates, every stitch has the lever arm either following the inside or the outside. To see how this creates the double lock stitch, we need to look at the other end of this lever underneath the machine. This is the opposite end of the oscillating lever that was controlled by the pin moving to the inside and outside of the grooves in the end of the drive shaft. This is the drive lever for the dog feed. It moves up and down. This moves back and forth, like this. With the switch in the regular stitch position, this lever is held far enough away so it never interferes with the armature for the dog feed. But if we move the lever to the double lock stitch position, now every other stitch, that end of that oscillating lever comes over far enough to block the dog feed lever from moving up. And that's how it prevents the cloth from being moved. When the pin is in the outer groove, it moves this lever far enough over to block it, so it skips moving the cloth for stitch. Then it's moved now back to the inner groove and it's out of the way, so we get a regular stitch. And that's a close look at the secrets behind some of the inner workings of a Florence sewing machine. I sincerely hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you very much for watching.